A goal you have not yet achieved. Imagine that you already have, and you will succeed. Focusing requires 20 brain vibrations. Remember that the brain vibrates, pulses, and emits just as the heart beats. The heart beats per minute. The brain operates per second. Vision requires the brain to function at 20 vibrations per second. The gateway to the alpha state, or the connection with the right hemisphere operating through the right emitter, is at 10. Therefore, you cannot be in two places at the same time. It is like this when you are seeing directly. All the other senses receive information only indirectly. When you are listening, vision becomes indirect, and all the other senses are indirect as well. Only one sense at a time can be directly connected to your consciousness. You cannot be in two places at once because they operate at different frequencies. Vision is the highest frequency. Hearing ranges from 20 to 20,000 cycles, which is much lower, and touch is lower still. This means that there is a distinct dimension for each sense. So when a person sees gray or sees black or whatever it may be, it is because they are trying to see with their eyes closed, and all they are detecting is what appears behind the eyelids. With the eyes closed, the eyelids closed, what appears is gray or black. This means the person is trying to see. We do not want them to see in that dimension, because when they try to see they attempt to use the part of the head where the eyes are, the brain prepares to focus and pulls them out of their dimension, where all these things are possible. In other words, it is in 10 that more problems are solved, because more information is received to solve problems at 10 using the right hemisphere, the intangible, the invisible rather than the left. And when you try to see, you immediately leave 10 and move to 20, then what we are trying to achieve does not happen. What we seek happens in 10. So do not try to focus. In other words, forget that you have eyelids. Forget that you have eyes. Remember what you have already seen. How do you practice visualization? Look at something, a scene, an object, a person, and then, with your eyes closed, describe it mentally or verbally in every detail and in all its colors. Remember, if it is a red apple, you will not see it as gray. How did you remember it? You remembered it as red. So describe it in the color red with the shape it has. In short, take any object, any scene, any person, and after having seen it, describe it with your eyes closed in every detail and every color. When someone is speaking to you, or when you are reading a newspaper or a book, and you come across a word that can be turned into a picture and image of something you have already seen, then describe it. For example, if you hear someone talking about a house, a tree, a cat, a dog, or a horse, remember a house you have already seen. Remember a horse you have already seen. A dog you have already seen. You are recalling what you have already seen in all its details and all its colors. That means you are practicing visualization. Practicing imagination is something else. When you are listening to someone speak or reading a newspaper or a book, in the same way, when you come across a word that reminds you of something, you have already seen a house. For example, a horse, a dog, a cat immediately create a house you have never seen. Change its color, add an extra door, modify the image in any way. Imagination is practiced when you alter the image you have seen. You are imagining. To imagine is to detect what you have not seen, to alter a condition that does not exist. That is imagination. When you detect what you have already seen, you are when you are replaying what you have already detected, you are when you are creating something that does not exist for the first time, that is imagination. So you can practice simply by modifying images you have already seen. In this way, you are already using imagination and can develop these faculties. When someone comes to you and tells you a story and says, imagine what happened here and there, we still tend to want to function as we did in the past with imagination. This faculty has become so it is necessary to recall it, to revive it. When someone says to you, imagine what happened here and there, go to your level and try with your mind to see what they are telling you, and you will correctly imagine what that person saw. You are imagining. To imagine is to detect what you have not seen, to alter a condition that does not exist. That is imagination. When you detect what you have already seen, when you are replaying what you have already detected, you are visual. When you are creating something that does not exist for the first time, that is imagination. So you can practice simply by modifying the images you have already seen. In this way, you are already using imagination and through it developing these faculties. For example, you have never been to Las Vegas, but you have always wanted to go. So you imagine what Las Vegas is like. Even if it is not exactly that way, you are using imagination because you are trying to see something you have never seen, and you create buildings, scenes, whatever you believe it to be like, even if it is not. That is imagination. Once this faculty is developed through practice, once you are in alpha at 10 cycles, a person can imagine by detecting the condition of another person, and that condition is truly that one. Through imagination, the person can accurately perceive the condition of someone they have never seen, at a distance without needing to speak to them. Goals. For example, in other words, a goal you have not yet achieved. Imagine it as already achieved, and you will achieve it. That is to say, you must place the final period in the mental world. Remember that everything that will happen in the physical world must first take place in the world of the mind. Place the period. Do not place ellipses. Do not leave it unfinished, because you will never achieve it. If you seek success, imagine yourself as having already succeeded, already in the past tense, so that it can happen in the physical world. If you do not do it this way, it will never happen. Everything that has materialized first took place, first appeared in the mental world. Otherwise, it would never have materialized. One more thing, a piece of advice. When you are functioning from the left hemisphere, time, as we know it, works like this. The past is behind us. The present is where you are, and the future is in front of you. But when your consciousness, your soul, your spirit, your human intelligence is focusing the mind, this faculty, and functioning from the right hemisphere, then it is different. Then you are operating in this spiritual, mental, intangible world. In that case, the past is to the right, the present is in front of you, and the future is to the left. So if you want to achieve a goal in the future, imagine it as already achieved and place it to the left of where you are, to your left. That is how you fix the goal. Having already achieved success, feel the triumph of having already conquered it. Then allow it to happen in the physical world, just as it has already happened in the mental world.